Hey up, Charlie again, and I've got another stonker of a video for you. This time we're going to be making a Maned Imp Dragon head from the pattern available on my Ko-fi. They look like these little guys! Way! Adorable! I have so many of these now. This is a smaller pattern compared to the Luck Dragon. This pattern will make the head the right size for the one matching baby blue or the little white and blue baby that I posted several shorts of a while back. You can skip to the end of the video to see the puppets I've made using different versions of this head. Amazingly, I found the time somewhere this year to clean up this pattern and make it available so you can get your puppet on. The link to grab it will be in the description, and maybe even the little floaty thing that pops up on the right hand side if I can work out how to do it. I've also made some upgrades to this pattern over the Luck Dragon head, including showing where inside the head you need to glue the inner jaw pieces for the best fit and comfort when puppeting. So you can see these two inner jaw pieces here are where you place your hands, basically make some little finger holds, and that'll make it easier to open and close the head. You can see here, this is how you hold it. Fabulous. Fingers at the top, thumb at the bottom, open and close. Wow, wow, wow. Grand old time. Alright, let's get to what you need to make it. So first of all, you need your pattern, and I'll go through how to print that off in just a moment. You need clear tape. You will need red and blue pens, or like a pink and a blue, no judgment here. You'll also need a black one for going around the actual pattern. You will need a knife and a very sharp blade, recommend getting a brand new one out. You will need a pair of scissors for cutting out the paper pattern. You will also need your variety of contact glue, or contact cement, I think, if you're in America. I use Evo Stick. I also actually decant it into a squeezy bottle. This just makes it easier to apply without having the tin open all the time and sticking out. Oh, careful, put that back. So if you're using contact glue, you need PPE. That stuff is stinky and chemically and will give you a headache. I have some proper hench ones here. No bonus, you can bring your little companion along with you. Why not? This is a little mouse puppet I made like years ago. It looks a bit more like a rat, but I really love the face sculpt. I'll have to do something else with them someday. Okay, right, so you're going to want to open up the PDF in Adobe Acrobat. This is a free download. This is the best place for it to work. So you want to open it up to print. You want to go to click poster, so it's laid out like this. You want to turn cut marks on. And printed that out in, not in black and white, in colour. Charlie, get it right. Alright, here it is. We are now printing, and it's very slowly coming out the printer. So this will print out the size that I am making. If you want to make a bigger head for like an over-the-shoulder puppet, something the same size as Luck Dragon, you want to change that percentage in tile scale to around 120 to 125%. Further instructions will be on the actual PDF for you. We are now on to aligning the printed pieces so that we can actually cut the pattern out properly. There will be cut marks along the edges as long as you tick that box, and there will be faint Keep Drawing Charlie puppet logo in the background. You can use all of these things to help align each of these A4 printed pieces of paper, and that means that everything should align and all your pieces will be the right size and in the right place. So you can see here that I'm a bit lazy. I like to just sort of cut one side out and then like align it over the top of the other piece, and this way I don't have to cut as many things out, mostly. Right, well, I like to remove any excess paper once the pattern has been taped together. It just makes it easier to work with. And I'm using the same ruler and blade here to make sure that any right angles I've got are cut perfectly and any mirrored edges are cut perfectly as well. Just makes it easier to make sure all the pieces come out the right size when you are transferring it onto the foam. So sometimes I like to use the blade for like long sweeping pieces, otherwise, you know, just get in there with scissors. Like, use what is best for you to cut it out the best way for you. Alright, so with that all basically done, I'm going to hand it back over to Charlie in the studio. They're going to take you through the rest of this pattern and build the head right along with you. Take it away, Charlie. Hey everybody, Charlie here for Keep Drawing Charlie, and today we are making the head of the Maned Imp Dragon. Now this is a smaller dragon build. It's more like European style as well, like how the Luck Dragon head is more of like an Eastern dragon style. So I've been working on adjusting the pattern for a while. I used it, blew up quite big for a commission that I had done recently. Hope to show that off very soon. Did a little bit more work on it to make the pattern a bit easier, and we are ready to roll on building the dragon head. So this is what this video is going to be today. I will be walking you through how to do it from printing out to finished head base, basically. So yeah, right. I will get the stuff and get started. Here we go. Okay, so you have got all your pieces printed out. It is now time to transfer them onto your foam. Mine's a little bit wobbly. I use Plastazote or LD45 foam. I use 6mm thickness. You can use 5mm, you can use 7mm. I'm sure you could go up to 8mm without too much trouble. It may just be a bit thicker, like some of the edges might not fit perfectly if you do it with something that isn't 6mm. But 6mm isn't just what I use. I do also use 12mm for the base of the... Might as well just get it. For the base of the bottom jaw. This just gives it like... just makes it more sturdy, gives it a bit more structure in the grand scheme of things. I also use it for the inside inserts, so that you can like slip your hand in, and again that just means it's a bit more rigid, it's a bit more structurally sound in that way, especially if you're kind of like throwing the thing around. But you can use 6mm and that'll work totally fine as well. Like a lot of my early puppets were just this stuff for every single one of them, and I've had absolutely no issue with that. It's just a personal preference now. I like to make it out of 2 different widths, but just one piece of 6mm will do you fine. I'm hoping to fit everything onto this piece today, because otherwise I have to go and dig out the other huge piece I have and it's not going to film very well. Personal preference, I like to make sure I can fit in as much as possible and that there is no space wastage, because materials are expensive, you know, and you want to use as much as you can, as reasonably as you can. So, first of all, jaw base. Personally, I don't want to do the jaw base on here, so I'm going to remove that one. I don't need that. The inner bottom jaw and the inner top jaw, the inner top jaw. I also will be making those out of the 12mm thickness, so I'm just going to set those ones to the side here. Right. So what I do want is these pieces here. They're hard to pick up. Come here. Okay, so these are your main pieces. You will also have these 3 pieces that were at the top of the pattern. These are a bit weird. These are new. These are... Whoa, dropped it. These will help you place the inner top jaw when you come to gluing that in. If you're not going to have the top jaw, if you're just using this as like something else, or you're using it like as a fursuit type thing where you're going to kind of gut the inside and do something else, or you want to like mount it and make like a fake wall hanging of a dragon or something, you won't want these. If you do want to make it into a puppet and you want to have those inserts at the top and bottom for your hands to go against, then I would make sure you print these out, put them to the side. I will show you where to use them later. Right now, we don't need them. So we will not be cutting these ones out because they are like parts of pieces that already exist. All right, okay. So, you can use pen, just like a basic like biro. You can use a Sharpie. You can use a paint marker, anything you need to make your marks and make it obvious where things go, you know? Make sure that you have printed this out in colour. You need to, I mean, actually, you don't have to print it out in colour, but you do need to make sure that you know, hopefully that will focus. You do need to make sure that you have both the dots and the lines quite obvious so that you can reference them and put them on the pieces. Oh, the dog wants to go out. I have to open the door. There you go. I knew you'd do this. Don't come whining later. Go sleep on the sofa. If there's scratching at my door later, he'll want back in. Right. So personally, I like to print in colour because it's more obvious. And then when you come to draw them on your pieces, make sure you have two very obvious colours. They don't have to be perfectly blue and red. I personally use pink and light blue Sharpies. I've got a paint marker, and because that one's a bit thin. I'd recommend like the proper Sharpies rather than the thin liner ones because they just kind of get caught on the foam. So I'm going to grab these two side and then get started. All the pieces will show you how many you need on them. Things like the snout that go in the middle, you do only need to cut one of them. The head top here, it tells you to mirror and cut on the line. So you're only going to cut one of them, but you're going to have to flip it to do so. The rest of these are pretty much the standard. Draw around it and then flip it over, draw around it again. Oh, there is one more thing I've forgotten to do. I'm going to have to go back into a time lapse, I think, because also important to do. Let me lift this up to here, hopefully that'll focus. These little lines here are all registration marks. Registration marks will line up pieces to pieces to show you exactly where they go. So you'll notice that I've not sort of written like this is side A, place it on side A. The head top you will see from me doing it here. You can see from the instructions and photos that are out there as well. Like when you purchase the pattern, they'll have the photos in that as well. So the head top, I know, goes on the head side. So when it comes to it, these two pieces will line up like that. And that's what the registration marks do. So to make it easy to transfer registration marks from your pattern pieces onto your pattern, especially because you also need to flip it the other way and do it the other way, and you can't always see the registration marks from the other side, get in with scissors, make little tiny triangles. I'll show you now actually, as long as my scissors behave. Want to make tiny little triangles. Make the little top point go like that. Super, super simple. Go on, I dare you to focus. There you go. So, like that. And then come back when you've done that, because I didn't do that. I have jumped the gun. Oh dear. But what I do have to make it faster is a pattern notcher. But unfortunately mine's like half blunt, so it will only punch out like one side of it and not the other, which isn't great, but hey ho. Alright, I'm going to time lapse and just do this. Okay, so when you've finally actually cut out all the registration marks, you'd be ready to go. So let's get drawing around all of these. I need all of you out my way, out my way. Alright, I usually start with the head top because it's got the mirroring thing on it. It makes it just easier to get it out of the way. Oh, hello. Goodbye. Easier to get it out of the way sooner. I spend ages just trying to make sure things fit without too much wastage. You can just forge ahead. Do what you wish. I will not stop you. Nobody should stop you. Ooh, already crushed that. That's fine. Alright, we got a blue line there. I'm not going to be able to do that until I up. Right, that's that fun little bit here. Okay, and this is the mirrored bit. Personally, I like to just do a dotted line so I know that that's the part that I need to lay back over. There we go. Okay, and then flip. When you're doing the mirroring ones, you want to just cover over the line you've made, and that should give you pretty perfect mirroring. There we go. Just hold it in place and go back over the other side. I think I'll be able to get everything on this one piece. I hope I'm going to be able to get everything on this one piece. I'm actually going to cheat a little bit later because I do already have a couple of pieces cut out from previous... Yeah, nice. Previous version of doing this. So, the important parts here are to make sure that you transfer your extra markings. So, dots, blue dots, blue dots, blue dots. Something really obvious, so you're not going to miss it when you come to cutting everything out. I will explain the dots and the dashes later, but basically they denote whether you are cutting like an inward angle. How do I do this from here? Inward? If that's above, right? If you're cutting an inward angle, you're cutting down like that into the foam. You're cutting at an outward angle, you're cutting like that, there, like that. Otherwise, you cut everything normally, 45 degrees straight down. 45 degrees? 90 degrees. Maths is not my strong point. Okay, that's the head top. I'm going to write that on top. Nice. Because if you label your parts, you're less likely to forget what on earth they mean when you actually get to it. Right. Fit in Mama's side. This one also has a blue dotted line. If you don't have different coloured markers or anything, just different colour, like it doesn't have to be blue or red, you can make it green and purple or something. It's just a quick, easy visual cue for like something different has to be done here. But if you've just got like a black marker, a biro, the fact that they are circles and lines means it is easier, like easy enough to do it with just a normal black marker, the same as you're doing everything else. Blue all the way up to the top on that, and I'm going to write puzzle side. Nice. On the pieces that you are cutting two out of, where you cut it and then flip it and then mark cut it again, label one side A and one side B. Personally, I label the like top side, the one with all the information on, that's usually A, and then I flip it over and this side will be B. Personally, I also tend to like leave these to the side with their, if like flipped the other way, oh my gosh, come back, flip the other way if I can't fit them in nicely and I know I can come back and fit them in nicely again. But otherwise, I try and get it all done in one go so I'm not accidentally leaving anything out, because it has been done. I have done it. It does exist. So yeah, there we go. I'm going to move that a bit there-ish. Cool. And when you're at this stage, you're not needing to leave any extra around the outside, apart from if you have red lines, because you're cutting outwards to those. But I will show you a little trick I do to make sure I don't like accidentally not leave myself enough space. But otherwise, get these as close as you want them to be honest. Bear in mind you'll need a really nice sharp blade to cut if you have two pieces that are really close together, because otherwise it's just going to want to like mangle a bit more. Okay, so that's muzzle side 2. Muzzle side, or B, sorry. You can use 1 or 2, you can use whatever system you want as long as you've made it obvious to yourself. Okay, so that is that, so which means the blue dots go down there, which means it's a cut inwards, and that piece is done. Get out of my way. Alright, snout, we're going to do one of those. Does that fit in there nicely? Sort of. Does anything else fit in there better? Is the real question. That fits in there better. Yes, okay, well this is I'm going to start on the B side of head side simply because that fits a bit better than starting it on the A. So let's go in here. Bear in mind when you come to like cutting these out, you're gonna probably get biro on you, pen on you. No matter what, you're gonna get it on you, it will transfer. The foam like holds it, but it just doesn't like seep in the way that would on paper or card or anything like that. So don't wear your nicest clothes when you're crafting. I mean, that should be relatively obvious. Common sense is a luxury these days. That is head side, and that was side B because I did it that way around rather than the way with all the info. So I'm going to do B, and I can see that there is a blue marking along there, so I'm going to make sure I get that in. Boop, 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 boop. Nice. Nice, yeah, we get head side A in there. I don't think there was a lot of space for anything else, that's a shame. Can't quite squeeze it in. Dang it. This is where I get all like, where can I fit them the best? I don't want to waste any space. Oh, look at that. Come on, actually, if we turn that around, will it fit better? Not really. Actually, can we do it that way around? Whoa. Nice. Oh, well, that moved. Oh, that's doable. There you go. Always very satisfying when you can just fit a space in. I always find that the pattern transferring, like all the cutting out, it can be a little boring, but because it doesn't take up too much brain space, you can just like whack a video on, put some long form video essay on, see how far you get through, I suppose. Cheek. That is A, that was the correct way around. Mirror and cut to, it looks like there's some blue on there as well. Blue, 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 blue. Nice. That over, see if I can get that in somewhere nice and easy. There we go, how will do. Can I get you in there? Oh, oh, I can have that. No. Like, I certainly like to have music playing or something on in the background while I'm doing this. This is actually very weird for me to be doing this without anything on in the background, but I can't record the audio and listen to music at the same time, because otherwise I'll start accidentally singing along, and y'all don't need to hear that. And I quite liked the organic nature of doing functionally the commentary, the voiceover for this as I'm working. That is cheek B. Ultimately, because I'm lazy and it makes less work for me later. I don't have to like write a script or anything and try and voice it over. I will have to write a script for the beginning bits though. Right, what else have we got here? Head side. Can I like squeeze you in here? Yeah, that'll do. On a personal preference, if you do go up to the side, and let's see if we can show that in the video. If you do go to the side on these sheets of Plastazote, they have this lovely shiny edge here. This is rubbish for gluing against. I would recommend not going right up to the very edge, or if you do, make sure you skim this shiny bit off here. It's basically where it's been cut, like with some sort of heated edge, and it's like seared it closed. Doesn't take glue great, so make sure that if you're going to do that, do it on an edge that you know isn't going to be glued on. Otherwise, don't go up to the edge. So, even though that would be grand along the edge there, I'm actually not going to let it touch. Bad and quiet now. I want my terrible YouTube videos. I want to learn how people speedrun a 20-year-old game. I want to know which MLMs are crashing and burning. I want to know which YouTubers that I've never heard of in my life what controversies they're going through. Bedside. Wait. Oh yeah, good, because that was B and this is A. I thought I goofed it. Bedside A, and that was blue along that edge there. Oh, it's blue on both edges. I've only just noticed. I'm a fool. I'm glad I caught that. So there's actually blue along there as well. Blue isn't too bad. Like an inward cut you can do later if you've forgotten. The issue is like the outer cut, because if you've already cut it, then you don't have the foam to cut into anymore, functionally. So what are we going to cheek back? Cheek back. I can squeeze that one in there. Can I squeeze it in the other way around, maybe? Could you get in here? There we go. Don't think so. No. Okay, we won't do it. Oh my gosh, it gets so close to fitting. Ah! Is there anything else I can fit in this little gap? Oh wait, look! Oh, that's satisfying. Let's do this nose here. Nose side A. When we get to cutting out the nose, I'm going to give you a little extra tip for it, because I've realised the blue, it kind of should have a dotted blue line. You kind of should do like an inwards cut, but it needs to be a really light, shallow inwards cut, so we're going to do it later. So that is nose A, and it has blue dots all around here. There we go. We'll flip it and do it again straight away, because then it gets out of the way. I can do it up here actually. Not really. Me and my Professor Layton puzzles. How do you fit all of these in this space? This is just like a craft with me video, really, when I do these. You get my stream of consciousness. And nobody should be subjected to that, really. And yet here you are, and I thank you for it. Nose. B. Blue. Goes here. Nice. Gone from here, nose. Alright, we have eyes, under eyes, snout to do, and then onto the bottom jaw. So the snout's the fun one. We've got red lines along here, which means we need to make sure there is space up top and bottom. You can't kind of shove these ones up against other pieces because they need space for you to cut outwards at an angle on these. So I'm gonna make sure there's enough space, and I'm really going to cut it out here so there's only one in the snout because it's right in the middle. If you've got cardstock, I would highly recommend printing the patterns out of cardstock, because they're less likely to flip around, get caught on things and rip and tear. And I would like cardstock, and I would like to print mine on cardstock, but alas, I still haven't. There are so many things I should do, you know? Oh, I was meant to put my glasses on as well to do this, and I haven't, and that's why I'm like blinking a lot. There we go. Put my glasses back on. Where did I put them? Crap, they're in the other room. Okay, nobody panic. Okay, I hope nobody panicked. I'm back, it's fine. Okay, so because this has the edges on red as well, the red ones mean that you'll need some extra clearance. Personally, to make sure I do not forget, because sometimes you're just cutting everything, so you forget. I make an extra line, like 1.5 centimeters. I don't know what measurements are. A couple of centimeters out like this, and that is my do not draw any patterns too close to this edge, because you're going to need it when you come to cut it out. So I'll write snout on that. There are some blue dots on the snout. I might have to make those darker. I don't know if that's just my printer has printed them too lightly. But those dots go up to a point. Ah, and you know what I haven't done? I haven't denoted the point on here. So that's a fair shout. On this snout bit, your dots will be blue, but there will be a point where they stop, and you will see a little blue line on that, and that will show you basically where you want to start trailing off that inwards cut. The snout is a bit of an awkward bit. I spent a while reworking it. The snout bit that I'm talking about is this bit here. So I've found ways to make it easier, basically, and this is the best method I've got, because functionally you are... Oh, there you go. The dots got coming up here, and then you taper off at this point, and then that becomes like a solid bit along there. And then it's mostly nice and clean in the middle. And that's why watching these videos is convenient if you want to put one of these together, because I'm able to talk you through my process and the things I remember along the way, functionally. Right, so I don't actually have red, I'm using this like pink colour, but it's obvious enough, so lines along here. And that means that I know I got to cut at a 45-degree outward. Right, snout, you're done, get out of my way. We are on some under eyes, and the eyes also have red bits on them, so I also have to be aware for those. Oh, actually, maybe I'll do this one here. Oh, that fits quite nicely. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I have space from that nose piece there. These bits don't matter too much, they could be quite close together. So let's draw the eye in here. I think this piece would not be big enough if I was doing all of the bottom jaw pieces and the inner jaw pieces on it. It would not be big enough at all. So you do need a reasonably sized piece, especially if you are putting the inserts in. I'll get a vague idea of like how much you need, and probably it'll be in the video, beginning of the video. And you'll probably already know it. This information will be useless to you. Okay, so I've got another like markation thing here in blue, and that shows me where I need to stop. This is going to be a fun one to cut out, but we'll go through it when we get there, because you've got an inner edge here and you've got an outer edge here, and they need to come together at a point, basically. But that's fine, that's like a future you problem. We will get there at a different point and we'll deal with it, we'll worry about it then. For now, just get the pieces down and note what they are. Oh, actually, because that comes there, that'll go out right like that. Cool, 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 cool. Right, so flip the eye. Where else can I get you in? I can do you here, I suppose. That's fine, I'm not going to be in the way of this now. I'm not in the way of this one. That can go there. Bring it back over here a bit. Okay, I, B, and same sitch. Oh, look, you didn't put that line in because it was on the other side. This is why you have to know these things, you know. Yeah, so it's there-ish. It is blue around the top bit. And red along the bottom bit. Oh, these new glasses are a bit big for my face. That's the eye done. That can get out of the way. Don't have too many left here. Alright. So I can't really get this lovely piece in here, even though it kind of fits, because this is a red edge and we need that space, and that is being taken up. So we can't go there on that one. I might just get these cheek pieces in here, actually, because they are a nice, easy one to do. Give the head a really nice shape. Bottom. Oops, don't move now. Don't move. That is cheek, back, A. Turn it around. Oh, next door neighbour's dogs are off. And hey, if your pieces aren't perfect, like, it's fine. Nobody's perfect. And foam is pretty forgiving, and it is even more forgiving, especially if you're going to be covering up with a fur fabric or something similar. Right, so under eye now. Again, can't do it in here, even though that works really well because I need extra space for the outer cut. So I'm going to... Is there anywhere nice for it to go? It doesn't fit. I hate this. I flip it and do it that way around? Yeah, I'll do it like that then. So I know it's this outer edge that's got the red on it, so as long as I point that outwards, I'll be okay here. Along like that, and along there. Oh, people in my house are singing. People next door and outside us. Everybody's making noise. That is under I. Ooh. That was B because I'd done that one upside down first. So I just need to make note of where the colours are on that one, which is blue all along this edge here, and there's another sort of indication of the stopping point on this, and I know it's going to be that corner there. So the red lines go. Those aren't very liney. That should be fine. And then that corner is fine. Wait, no, have I goofed it? No, I'm okay. No, I'm not okay. And this is why you have to pay attention. Okay, so because that's mirrored, I've done that incorrectly. This is not down here at all. So I'm just gonna kind of cross that out, or try and make it look like I've crossed that out. And actually the line to stop is to be going that way. So I'm gonna just hold that to the light. Transfer it onto the other side so that I can see it better here. I should have just cut that out really, so that remove that. Okay. And actually the red bit is along here, which means that kind of goofed that a little because I don't really have a lot of space there, but we'll make it work, it's fine. Make it work. Or we'll just cut out a new piece. I can do that as well. Right, so that's the B one, so I need to do this one the right way up this time. Well, that fits there nicely at the very least. My registration marks are dying. Must get cardstock. Can everybody see that? I know I'm a little bit off camera. Whoops. I have to break for a dog walk in the middle of this and hope that the lighting is still okay. Should be fine. Okay, right, that's there. At least I can copy this correctly this time, eh? Blue along that bit. Red or hot pink along this bit. Okay. I guess better that side at least. Okay, under eyes A. Get you out the way and make sure I have the space to cut this piece out. There we go. Which means actually... Oh, I didn't even need that! No, I'm an idiot. To that point. I could have moved it in. Whatever. It's fine. Nothing has been lost. Okay, cool. Right then, so... Now, I expect you lot will want to make sure that you're cutting out 2 of your bottom jaw sides. 1 of your bottom jaw middle. I would make point on the piece of the bottom jaw. I'm just going to do it, Blue Peter, pointing down this. Wow, that is just so badly drawn. That does say this side up. You might not be able to see it because it's written badly and I've got pen all over me again. But yeah, you need to make sure you know which way up that goes because the lines are kind of outwards like that for a reason. And I already have my 2 sides here. So you want to make sure you cut these 2 out. I'm just being lazy. And then of course, if you do not have a thicker piece of foam, you're going to want to make sure that you do the jaw base, the inner bottom jaw, and the inner top jaw as well. So these ones will be done much the same way as the head top. Draw around, and then personally I do a dash line. You could do a solid line down here, and then when you flip you want to make sure that you are just covering that dashed or long line just enough so you just can't see it anymore, and that will give you pretty much a perfect mirrored half on the other side. And then the same with these 2, they both say mirror on this line and cut 1. And at that point, you will have all your pieces drawn over, which is grand. And then you'll be on to the cutting out. So I'm going to put so you're functionally done. You're functionally done. I'm going to do that. And we will get to the pieces I mentioned earlier, the inner drawer placement ones. We'll get to those once we have cut these ones out. All right, let's get on it. Nice. Okay, I'm just going to take you through the cuts that you'll need for this. So, absolute standard cut that basically if your line doesn't have the red or the blue dots or lines on it, all you need to do is a nice straight down like that. I'm using nice thick foams to make it more obvious what I'm doing here. Nice thick, nice cut down. Okay, so if you have a blue line, I'm going to do it like this, I think. You have a blue line. What you're going to want to do, I'm going to hold this up to the camera because I can't move the camera. In the light, there we are. So what you're going to do is, instead of cutting downwards like that, I'm going to exaggerate this, you don't need it this much. You want to turn your knife at a 45-degree angle inwards into the piece that you're cutting into. That way it'll give you a nice angled line. So instead of holding it this way, I'm going to hold it this way. And nice clean cut down in one. This is thick though, my thing doesn't go all the way through, so I'll just do that. And that, if I now turn that this way, be this way around. And we bring up a bit more to the camera. So you can see now that that is a line that has been cut inwards like that. And that means that, if I get just a random piece, when you put these two together, this one's too thick, help. Do it this way. So that way, if you put these two together, that will angle a piece downwards, like that. So that is like that. Angled piece. We love that. So that's an innie one. If you're doing an outie one, I would do it on this side around, which I've functionally done there, but we'll do it again, it's fine. So we've got a nice long red lines. So these ones are a bit more awkward to cut because you're cutting away from your piece, which means you might not have a lot to hold on to, so you need to be really careful when you are cutting these ones. Because for me, how I need to hold this means that, because I'm right-handed, I want to kind of do my cuts that way, and this, yeah, like this, I want it this side of me. But because this is a long line that I'm cutting the other side of, I need to do it this way around. So this is a bit awkward. I've probably not made this very easy for myself. But here we go. Don't copy me. Be a better person. Anyway, so I'm cutting not that way, not inwards to the piece, I'm cutting outwards here. So I need to make sure that whatever you're cutting, you have enough foam next to it on like the left-hand side, basically, to cut into. So. And down. I need a new knife. There we go. So, that is now a piece that has been cut outwards. Ta-da! And that means that when you have a normal piece, that is an outward cut piece, that's kind of going to go upwards. Like that. Yeah, nice. And it also means that if you have like two pieces that have been cut at an angle, which would be that way around. No, that way around. There'll be like a more jagged like line up. So that's how you make your patterns a bit more three-dimensional. You're not sort of just gluing edges to edges, you're giving it a bit of dimension with those angled cuts. So let's get on to actually cutting the pattern out. Oops. Okay, first thing you need to do is make sure you have a nice sharp blade. Sorry, my blades are up there. In your knife, I don't, so I'm going to put one in. So, where's my? So I have a sharp spin. My sharp spin is like empty. I filled it up. It took like 5 years to fill it all up, and then it was too much, so I had to empty it. So these are the blades I use personally. Swan Morton. Yeah, non-sterile surgical blades. I bought a pack of like 100? I think these are a pack of 100. Pack 100 of these, like, over a year ago, easily. Very convenient. Okay, if you have a blade like this, get yourself a pair of pliers, and like press it off. Only do this if you know what you're doing. I worked in a puppet studio for a while and I was taught how to do that. Otherwise, get a pair of pliers. Don't do anything stupid. New blade. Gently press in. And again, use a pair of pliers if you're uncomfortable doing something like that. It's not worth the hassle if you get it wrong. Nobody wants to go to Amy. Okie dokie. So, I'm just gonna make a real rough cut around this so I'm not dealing with like all this extra gaff here. So I'm just gonna, quick cut. Look at me talking about making sure you don't use up too much, and here I am. There we go. I could go on the floor, we'll deal with it later. So, okay, so you'll have more to cut out than this. This is simply like what I have right now, so that I can have all the pieces out of this piece of foam. I will cut the other ones out of the thicker foam, probably off camera. You don't need to watch that anymore. Oh, I fucked up on that one. That is why you draw the line around it, so you don't do what I just did, and you know that it's there. I'll do that one. We'll cut. We won't talk about that one. We'll do that later. It's fine. We'll Blue Peter it. It's fine. Okay. So, I'm just gonna start cutting mostly because I've done this so many times now. So nice, even pressure throughout. Down on the tip, and just drag towards you. I feel like most things you're like, don't cut towards you, but this is the one thing you need the control of. Cut towards you. And this one is a normal edge. I'm just going to double check actually. Let me get my pieces out. If you're not sure, make sure you keep your pieces nearby. Yep, that's just blue on the top, that's fine. I made the pattern and not even I can remember. When you are cutting out, if you've done a thick marker edge, you want to cut on the inside of that edge. Biro lines, you're basically just cutting on the line. So we're at our first blue dotted line, which means that is an inward cut into the piece. So I am going to cut in at an angle and still doing one swift motion through. There we go. So that one is now, let me see that, angled like. Okay, well that's one whole piece cut. Repeat. Not more of them. Oh, we love a nice new blade. It just works so perfectly, just how it should. If you start to feel like resistance or the foam is starting to buckle under your blade, just change the blade out. It's just not worth the hassle because you'll mess your pieces up and potentially you'll have to like redo them. So it's just not worth the hassle. Change the blade out. A nice inward cut here. Following that edge, and there we go. So there's the two pieces there done. Keep your workplace tidy, move your pieces out of the way. Let's do the really big head top and get that out of the way first as well. There you go. Press through, drag towards, nice smooth motion. And then same on these sides. There we go. Take it slowly. No need to rush something like this. This is actually where it gets a bit awkward when you have these pieces quite close together, but I have space, and now I'm going to do this inward edge, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start with the blade above the piece because I have space here. I'm actually going to cut in here, and then that gives me the starting point for a nice glide whilst the blade is at an angle. There we go. And I'm going to do the same up here, but because there isn't foam to cut into, I'm able to start my blade just out here, catch it, and then bring it in at an inward angle like that. Fantastic. So these ones are just normal, straight down cuts. like that. And that should come out nicely like that. And then get that pile going over there. Get out of my way. Get that out of the way. And because this cut through here will remove some other extra stuff. I'm gonna do that now. And let's do these two pieces. This is the nose piece, so normal here. So I mentioned previously about the nose piece, we will get to in just a moment. So standard, we're doing inward cut because it is blue dotted line on this part of the nose. So angle that blade inwards. Now you can do this in two motions, like just coming off the edge like this, or you could do it in one motion all the way around. If you rotate your foam, it is a lot easier than trying to like turn your wrist all the way around. But you can also do it in several cuts, like this, sort of like leather workers would do around corners, as long as you keep that blade inwards. Alright, so there is no blue bit on the what will be the inner edge because the two nose pieces sort of go together like this, but you do need an ever so slight edge, so instead of sitting flush like this, it's hard to show, they bend slightly that way. They don't bend enough that way for us to put like a blue dotted line on it, but you want just a hint of it. So we're not going to sort of go in with an angled like blade, but we are going to go in with a little bit, like a slightly, like I'm not paying too much attention, I'm just cutting it slightly inwards. If you're not comfortable doing that there, then just cut it out normal, and then when you come to glue the pieces together, you'll have a better idea of like what angle that you might want them at, and then you can cut that angle on them normally. You can cut any of these pieces on the blue lines normally first and then go in and cut them after, but sometimes I find if your blade's not sharp enough, you don't get enough purchase, you will just push the foam around and make it buckle. It's just not fun. Okay, so the eye piece, this is the slightly awkward one. I'm actually going to cut down this line first so I know where to go. So red lines is an outward cut from the piece, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the blade out here, kind of like I did on the other piece, and that just gives me like somewhere else to grip, so I'm not going straight into it, I can like easily glide into it. So we're going to cut out from this around that piece there. I'm just going to follow that off the edge and remove that because that's just more comfortable too when you have like a sharper edge to that bit. So I'm moving the foam instead of the blade so I can get that nice swoop. And then final one, I'm starting again with the blade away from the out of the foam. Basically, I'm not like shoving it in because it's at such an angle. I'm more likely to get it wrong if I just shove it in. But doing it like this means I can just pull it gently through, like that. And that's how we get that outer edge. And now I'm going to do the inner edge, and that's where you want to be careful on this bit here that I'm not going and cutting off all of this nice excess that bit needs. This is the one time where I'm like, I do actually need to start by jamming it in there. So what I'm going to do here, instead of like dragging my blade at an awkward angle and like having to move myself, I'm going to spin the piece. Makes it a hell of a lot easier to do this. And now I've stabbed that, I need to find that stab again. That's why you don't stab. So I'm going to go angle blade, and I am just turning the piece. Again, you want to make sure you have a really nice sharp blade because otherwise it won't do this. And now I'm going to drag that off like that. There we go. Perfect. Innie and an outie on that one. Let's get all these pieces out of the way. Your junk as well. Go. Icky cheek piece. Nice easy swoop. Don't have to think too much about that one. Whoop. And just because I'm here, I'm going to do this one as well. That's a normal line down here. Oop. One off a little bit more there. There we go. Okay, inwards edge on this cheek piece starts here, so I'm going to once again just rocker this in slightly ahead of it, and then that means I have a nice even curve down that way. Get you out my way. And I'm going to do it on this one here. I'm going to start at that just above it. I don't have a lot of space, but I can still start just above angle blade inwards on the blue dots and off, just because it makes it easier. So this is where the shiny side of this foam is, so I want to make sure that is not on my final pieces, which is why this doesn't meet the bottom. We go in, normal cut, and just around the edge of that. There we go. Normal cut here. Go. Normal cut on the nose, just to get that extra piece off and out of my way. Let's do this. Let's finish this head side bit. So I'm going to have to rocket into it, unfortunately, because the nose is in the way of that my piece. There we go. And then I can start off the foam and drag inwards. I'm going to angle the foam slightly as I go, so I don't have to angle my wrist. There we go. Because if you angle your wrist, you're going to like make little extra movements as you go, and it won't be a smooth line. You want that smooth transition. Oh, that nose bit in a second. Alright, let's do this nose. I'm going to come from out here because it's easier. So this is another one of those. We could just turn the foam. It is quite a sharp turn on the nose. Yeah, actually it is a sharp turn on the nose. If you do it in two, it'll probably benefit you better. We're learning things. Okay, and again on this nose, personally, I'm going to do just a tiny shallow inwards cut. Nothing too big. There we go. And now that means, so if we were to put like the two actual like proper blue lines together, like you can see that these angle like quite dramatically like that. I wonder if there's a better way of showing like that. But I've done these two at very, very shallow angles, so instead of gluing like that, they're going to just glue at a slight angle each like that. We see that there. And that's why I recommend doing that. But again, you can do that later into the build when you have everything else sort of glued in place and you're kind of putting these in last. So they're done, get them out of the way, get that out of the way as well. I'm going to leave the snout till last because it's a bit awkward, so I'm actually going to do this head side here. Inward cuts, a lot of inward cuts on this one. I think more so on the than the luck dragon head. It's been a while since I did a luck dragon though. Normal ones. I don't know when this video is coming out, which means I can't talk about my most recent build because my contract was like, you can't talk about it properly until we've shown it off, and I was like, that's fair. But also I want to talk about it. Off. These ones are nice and easy. I might actually just cut that off so it's out of my way and I can pull out the rest of them. There we go. Little swoop on those cheek backs. And there we go. Swoop that. I added a swoop when I didn't need it. There we are. Right, last bits here. I did these way too close together. Advocate for not actually putting your pieces this close together. I'm just a fool. Right, so I know I can cut that bit there. Okay, so I'm going to start on this blue cut. Inward cut here, because then I can remove it from the other piece and make it slightly easier for myself. Go. Alright, so this is, oh, that's the normal cut. Okay, let's do this inward cut here, actually. Ooh, over a little bit. Okay, outward cut. These are the fun ones. Angle outwards. And I'm just going to go straight off. There's no point. When it's a hard edge like that, a hard corner, I'm not going to try and turn and do things. I'm just going to cut off the edge and then start again, which is here. And then this is a normal edge, so I'm actually just going to take it, swoop like that. Alright, nice. That's the part that goes underneath the eye. Got another one of them here. So I'm going to do the inward edge first because they're always way easier to do. I'm going to be real careful because I have gone real close to this bit here. I don't want to cut into the snout. Okay, there we go. Just first. This is just me being me, removing that out of the way. There we go. Cool. So these ones, this is another... So that's not an outward cut. That's the normal cut bit, and then that's the outward cut. Yeah, because this is the one I goofed it. Outward cuts always get me, man. I always end up messing something up and having to redo a piece. Thankfully these pieces aren't too big, so it's not too bad. And then this is a normal down. There we are. Okay, onto the snout. This one's a little bit awkward. So we can start on the two normal ones down here. That doesn't take too much effort. Nice. Off. So we've got two outer cuts here, so I'm going to do these ones next, because now I've removed this at the top. It'd be easier to drag the blade up, down. Nice. And again on the other side, starting from completely off the foam. It's just easier, gives you a better swoop. Okay, the inward cups, they're a little bit awkward because again you're kind of having to stop here. The way I do it is we're going to start off the foam, and again it's hard because it's a real tight one, so I'm going to do lots of little...
Hey, voiceover Charlie here, swooping in to say Studio Charlie realised this instruction was slightly incorrect when gluing the parts together. You want to stop your inward cut directly on the blue line. Don't taper it or anything, it's easier to glue later if you stop there and have it as a standard cut for the rest of the point. I'd actually recommend cutting this normally first and then trimming the blue spotted part out when the piece is separate to the rest of the foam. This is probably the most awkward piece to cut and glue in. It does hold the whole head together, so I wanted to make sure you knew ahead of time how to get it right, rather than realising with me in about an hour's time that it wasn't quite perfect.
To cut into them at the right angle to go all the way through the rest of the piece. There we go. Oh, that's pretty good actually. Quite pleased with that. Alrighty then. Okay, so I'm now going to go and fix the mistake I made by not leaving enough space to cut the other eye piece out. I'm just going to dig the one out that I did so that I have an... So that's A, so I need to cut another B out because I am a fool. And then we're just going to pretend, hey, I also cut out these two pieces for the bottom jaw and the piece for the middle of the bottom jaw. Yay! I'm also going to now go out and cut the other pieces for the base of the jaw out of the nice thick foam as well, because that's what I like to do, because I have those materials on hand. So you do you, bestie, and I will see you back here after I have fixed my mistakes. Yeah.
Okay, well, you don't super need a voiceover here, but you're going to get one anyway. So this is 12mm plastozote foam that I'm now working with here, and I'm marking it up for the base of the jaw and the two inner jaw pieces. As mentioned previously, you can make this all out of the standard size of plastozote, or whatever you're using. I know it exists in like 5mm and 7mm. I personally use 6 for all of this, because that's just what's available, like, for me here in the UK. So I've made enough puppets now that, like, I know I like to add a bit more structural integrity to the parts that I think would benefit from it, such as the base of the head and, like, the pieces I'm holding on to move the mouth around. You know, I've made more than my fair share of dragons. Almost all of them so far, apart from, like, the most recent couple, have been made with 6mm, like, all throughout, and they are holding up incredibly well years down the line, and some of them with a lot of use. So do not fear, like, you can make this out of whatever you want. Personally, I just use the thicker stuff for these pieces just to add a bit more structural integrity. Also, that inner top jaw needs, like, paring down a little bit on the underside, but we'll get to that later. Don't worry about it. Right, I'll shut up and I will let Studio Charlie take back over.
Okay, we're back. It's a new day, because it all got a bit late yesterday. Dog walk, went into food, went into eating food, went to bum around on the couch, as it is. But, in the meantime, I have cut out the jaw base, the inner bottom jaw, and the inner top jaw from the thick 12mm stuff. As you can see, it's a little bit bent the wrong way, unfortunately. Aren't we all? Yeah, it'll work itself out, it'll be fine. I actually did the time-lapse of that, so hopefully you just saw that. I also did a new IB because, as we all saw, I goofed and cut too close, so I didn't have the space to cut the outer edge properly. But that's fine, it's all done now, so let's get these out of the way. You can go over here, because what we want to start with is the head. Now, I wrote down some instructions for myself that I will also write up and pop in the pattern PDF. And they include starting with the head. I mean, we're doing the head anyway, so whatever. Head top. Right. And we want the head side. So what I recommend is just doing one side first and then filling in on the other side. I found that once you get to the eye bit, it gets really awkward and finicky to make sure pieces glue together properly. So that's why we are going to start on one side first. I'll start on side A first is what I will do. But what I'm going to do before that is it is time for you to get your contact glue out. I use this stuff, if it focuses. Nice. I use Evo Stick, multi-purpose impact contact adhesive. Any version of Evo Stick I found is fine. I've used their green stuff before, not had an issue with it. Personally, I only have a little one at the moment. Oh, throwing things around. I only have a little one at the moment because I don't need a lot and the convenience of it. Sometimes if you keep them around too long, they don't seal properly and they will go too tacky to use. I actually have another pot thing that I put it in once I'm done using it to help make sure it is completely sealed. So, okay, we're back. That was fun. I smashed a glass full of water all over the floor, right in front of my dog, who was very good and stayed right where he should on his bed. Very proud of him. All cleaned up, all dried up, and now we're back to what I was meant to be doing, which was going on about the glue. We're ready. I'm going to put the glue from here into here. I think I was explaining that, wasn't I? Right, yes. So if you get this one in particular, oh, it's disappeared. Well, it comes with a spreader thing. That appears to, it was literally here in front of me. It comes with this little spreader thing which has these little grooves, which are kind of neat. Ooh, it helps spread it evenly. Unless I'm doing a really big area, I don't bother with this. And because we're literally gluing along these edges, these very thin edges here, it's not something you're really gonna need. What I would recommend is a little lollipop stick if you're doing it straight from here. Or just like a piece of scrap foam or something like that, just to spread it along. Veterans out there and people who have an entire studio full of stuff, squeegee bottles. I think people use them for like pancake art or something, or like condiments and stuff like that. I think that's where I got mine. Ooh, careful. So what I do is pour some in here, and it just means the application is way, way easier. So I'm actually gonna do that now. Remember, PPE. Mine are really, really hench because this is the PPE that I use for my resin printing. They didn't used to be this chunky previously. I'm gonna sound a bit weird for a bit, but that's okay. Far better to be protected than heard clearly. Right, let's open this puppy up. Yeah, blurry. Oh, already got it on me. Love that. Okay. Very carefully, alright? Do I have something to wipe it off with afterwards? Scrap piece of foam. We'll use that. There we go. That should be enough there. Lid on. Little cap on. Doop. Right, I'm just gonna clean this off here. There we go. Nice. Oh, There we are, back in the room. Right, I heard that pop on nicely there, so I'm pretty sure that is nice and sealed all the way around. It's going to go in here, so it can stay sealed up. This was an old foam clay tub. There we go. Right, and now get that out of the way, and hopefully you won't have to touch that anymore. Right, and everything is way less stinky. Yay! Alright, so, instructions. I think that's what I was reaching for when everything went wrong. So, need to change to the page with the instructions on because everything got a bit down. Okay, so we're starting today. I'm going to do one side first, and we're going to do side A here. So, head top and head side A are the first pieces that you will need. Afterwards, we're going to glue in the eye. And then we're going to glue in the muzzle side. Where are you? Basically, just get all your, like, A pieces out. That would probably be best, wouldn't it? BB. Snoot. We're going to leave the bottom jaw stuff out the way for now. Get to that one afterwards. B. That's nose. E. A. Is. Okay, so let's start on this one. And this is where basically it's going to take some time. No rush to it. So if you have your squeegee bottle situation, you just want to run a line along, and now you can get like lollipop stick and just spread that across. We're going to have more than you actually need on there like that. You just need a thin layer, thin application. And now I'm going to lean that up against something else. I'm just going to use the extra on here. If you weren't using a squeezy bottle, you just want to dip in and just sort of drag it along so you have a nice thin line. And then when you get lazy like me with the squeegee bottle, you just put some on and use the squeegee bottle to run it along the length of it. So there we go, put that there. So that is head side A. We're doing the blue dotted line to the head top there. So we now just need to give this a moment to dry. When you're doing contact glue, contact adhesive, contacted cement, I think it's called in the US. What you're doing really is putting two together. Obviously, sorry. I mean, what you're doing is you're gluing both sides. The way this works with foam is fantastic because it kind of eats into the foam a bit and makes a really good bond between it and the foam. And then when you touch the two sides together, they bond incredibly well as well. But the whole thing stays very flexible. Like you can continue to like wiggle pieces quite a lot once they've been glued with contact glue on this kind of foam. It also stays incredibly sturdy. Like the puppets that I've glued together with this stuff are still going strong like 5 years later, like with good use. So they are very good at the usage on here, basically. Ew, there's a bit damp still. Get the top. So the kind of tackiness we're looking for here, you just kind of get a feel for it after a while. What you need is to be able to tap it and feel some resistance come off on your finger. So I think this side here is pretty much done. This side here has a little bit of dampness to the top, and that's just where the glue was thicker. So I'm just going to probably gently even that out. If you're impatient, just get a hairdryer. That's what I do. Yeah, that'll do. Actually, no, we gotta do it properly, alright? You don't want it to feel wet still, you just want it to feel a bit tacky. If you're like me, and you leave it too long, it'll dry up too much and it won't stick. Sometimes I walk away and forget, or I start something else and I forget that I'm leaving two pieces to get tacky. Okay, that'll do. Okay, so your registration marks here are the important parts. So let me get this light up a little bit further over here, that might help. There we go. So you have registration marks. I would highly suggest you start from the 2 blue edges that will be connected to the eye initially. So we're going to start here. The edges will go together, and then what you're doing is manipulating the foam slightly so that all the registration marks line up. Sometimes you'll look at it and you'll go, just normally they won't line up. But the foam is very forgiving, and sometimes it needs manipulating into place to give it the shape it needs. So I've pressed those 2 together. I'm going to bring like this. And then I am going and pressing these 2 together. And then following up, moving that down a bit, pressing these 2 together. And then pushing, pulling a little bit. And then it finishes nicely directly at the end there. So just pressing nicely so that all contact is made. And as you can see, that is already real rigid and strong. There we go. Right, so that one's done, so we need to glue the eye in next. That is what my notes say. So, get the eye piece. So, this is where it's all going to get a bit fun and complicated. Nice. So, that goes there. We're going to roll it around. So, probably going to start at that edge, I think. Yeah, that seems good. Okay, let's get glue down. We're going all along the head side and head top A side here. All over. Make sure you cover the whole dang edge. I'm going to leave that upside down so it doesn't touch anything else. So, I right now don't have PPE on. That is because I'm in a well-ventilated room. There's nothing else in here with me. Theodore, the dog, is out now. He had a bit of a whine about it, so I was like, you best go. Also, because I don't have an open container, because mine is in a little squeezy bottle, the fumes that come out are very, very minimal. If I wasn't recording right now, I also have like a little air purifier unit from IKEA that I always use in front of doing anything like this. So if I wasn't recording, that's what I would be using right now. But it would be loud and annoying, and I would like to speak clearly. So don't do as I do as I say, and wear your PPE. I think I mentioned it in a previous video, but that needs a tiny bit more glue there. But the first time I ever used contact glue, I had like an open container of it. I closed myself in a room, hunched over all these pieces, and was gluing and gluing and gluing and being like, I've got a bit of a headache. And then my sister came in the room and was like, wow, it stinks in here really bad of chemicals. And I was like, oopsie doops. And opened the windows and left the room and nursed a headache for the rest of the evening. So yes, it can and will affect you if you don't pay attention, if you're stupid about it. Like, do this outside, do it in a room without animals in, make sure your windows are open, etc, etc. You hear that tap? Hang on. That's the level that you kind of want it at. So this is maybe slightly too damp still, but like, to be honest, it's actually probably okay. So let's go in with it. Okay, so this piece, your eye piece goes in like this, blue edge to blue edge. This line here, I don't think it will completely line up because it goes off a little bit onto the next edge, but what that means is actually we're going to start at this tip here against the head side. So we're going to line those up, press them together, and then we're going to just manipulate it and press a little bit. There we go. So we're into that bit there. And second lot of registration marks. So you have a little bit of movement here, especially because these two pieces are right now kind of like against each other like that, so you can glue the very tip and then pull if you need to adjust it, and then when you're ready we're going to like really press them together. So there, that, and So I'm kind of pushing the eye away from me and pulling the head top towards me so I can make sure I get all of these pieces aligned properly. There we go. So I now have all the tops kind of aligned properly. You can see here that it's not like yet glued in there. And you can kind of see, oh gosh, this is kind of hard to do. There you go. You can kind of see that, oh no, it's not actually glued in yet. That's fine. It's all in the right place. So I'm going to go through and like press in with my fingers to make sure everything is glued all the way around there. Perfect. All right, got a nice edge on that one. Cool. So next we're going to glue the muzzle side to the under eye. Oh, we could have done this at the same time. That's fine. It's best to do things slowly. Muzzle side to the glue. Muzzle side to under eye. This is the muzzle side. This is the under eye, and I think it goes. Yeah, like that. I know what I'm doing. I made the pattern after all. Okay, so we're going to pop this one aside for a brief moment. We're going to grab your muzzle side and your under eyes, both A pieces. You're going to align the blue pieces together. They're going to go like this, which means you don't have to glue all the way along on the muzzle side. So I'm going to flip them over. Sorry, I'm gluing. Don't really. There we go. Oh, excuse me. A bit too much there. Always nice having fresh contact glue, because when I get towards the end of a tin, it's usually like really tacky and I'm usually having to fight it to work a bit. So it's nice going in with new stuff. So that goes from that way, so I'm bringing it all the way there. So muzzle side, we're not going to go all the way to the very end. You can, to be honest, you just glue over the top of it afterwards. Like, it's not a huge issue. Go, right. Leaving those two to dry. What do we want next? We will be gluing the under eye to the eye, so we can't do that one just yet. We next need to glue the cheek back to the cheek. Huh. Oh, we could do that while that's dry. There we go. So we're going to leave you there to dry. I'll move them up a little bit. There we go. Boop. Right, don't let me forget those, because this is how I forget and things dry out. So cheek back and cheek. That is... Which way around do you go? Ah! I'll get my buddy out. Cheek goes... Oh, I changed you. That way. Got it. Even I need to work from reference photos. Right. So, you want to grab cheek back and cheek, and what we're going to do is we're going to glue it in like this. It's going to go there like that. Nice and easy. Again, you don't have to glue all the way along the cheek here, because that is actually, I'll make a little mark. Why not? Why not make a little mark? Be about there. I've just made a little mark for myself so I know where to glue up to. Shoved my nail into the foam, so it just makes a little mark. Along there. Gluey. There. A few upside down there. Part of the cheek back. I mean, considering you have waiting time between gluing and actually sticking them together, being able to do a couple of pieces at a time is always convenient. Go. Right, and because this is nice new glue, a nice thin application, that's nice and tacky now. How about you? Yeah, fabulous. Let me get that tack. Nice. Okie dokie. So, cheek, under eyes to muzzle side. We're going to connect the blue ones. So you're looking at the blue dots and the red lines at the top of the under eyes, and the muzzle is the very blue tip that goes into a sideways slanty bit. It's easier just visually. I will explain it later, maybe in the instructions. So I'm going to line those two at the top, make sure I get those registration marks. Can I bring you further up? Are we going to focus, hopefully? And then down there. And now we've got a corner to go around, so you're just going to have to adjust, manipulate a little bit. And those registration marks together. And those registration marks together. There we go. Give that a little pinch in the corner to make sure it's going around nicely. Bring up in the middle. Perfect. Right, how are you doing? How you doing? And you need a tiny bit longer. Okay, so next part is putting the under eyes onto the eyes, aren't we? Yes? Glue under eye to eye. Fantastic. So this will be a slightly awkward one. This is going to be where you're having to really force and manipulate the foam because you're basically going around the corner like that. So it would be all red to red. And actually what you're doing is you're basically kind of coming up to kind of this point here, and this part of the red will be going on the snout piece. So, a little bit complicated, but I believe in you. You've got this. Cool. So now these will be tacky. Yeah, these will be alright to do. So I'm going to do this now, and then I'm going to move on to that one. So the cheek, back, and cheek. You want to go to the corner of this one where the blue hits this one here. It's just really weird. They're all pointy, but we're going to apply... actually, yeah, no, we're just going for that bit there. Press in. And there we go. Nice. And there we are. That's an extra side bit we'll get to in a minute. Cool. Right, so yeah, this one from here, here, and around. So glue to about there-ish. Alright, glue, 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 bloop, 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 bloop. Hopefully you can't hear the roadworks outside. Upside down. And then the whole of the red bit on here, wasn't it? Yes, it was. I knew what I'm doing. So I'm gonna glue all along where the red dash line is on the under eye piece. Okay, like that. And dry. All right, these are dry enough, tacky enough now. I say, blowing on that one to make sure. This is about right. Okie dokie. So we're gonna start in the head side, muzzle side corner. And we're going to press the edges, the very top tip edges together, and that means that we are now ready, hold it like that, to the illustration marks together. We hit that corner there, perfect, that's nicely done. So we're now going to force the foam around itself a bit, make sure we get those registration marks correct. So again, I'm like pushing the muzzle bit, pulling the eyepiece, so that I can get those registration marks to line up. And there we go, and that hits the very corner of that bit there. Fantastic. My lights aren't really set up from above, so hopefully that works there. Squeeze that from the inside, make sure it's all glued down. Fantastic. Right, we have already done our cheek and cheek back bit. Hurrah for us if you haven't. This is where you glue those two together now. And that is going to go right in here. It's going to be a big, long glue sesh on that one. But I believe in you, you can do it. So let's get it glued. I wonder actually if that's just going to be a bit in the way and if I have to glue that, cut that off. So let's have a quick looky there. No, that should be fine actually. Oh, I might pause because the bin men are coming and that's going to get real loud. So, one moment. Okay, and we say thank you, bin men, and we get on with our task at hand. Now we can hear ourselves think. So, I did think that this little corner bit here might be an issue because of how it sticks out with the outer edges of the red line, but actually should be fine. If it isn't, then I will adjust and you will know. Yeah, there we go. So that's all on there. It's a bit too much. Let's see. Gluey glue, 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 glue. Yeah, okay, put you upside down. We're going along the top here of cheek and cheek back. All along that edge. Even the cut in and cut out edges, every part of that covered because it'll all connect. There we go. Alright. Lid on. Fantastic, that's going to go there and that's going to give us basically everything on that side done. After that we will be gluing the muzzle in to this part here. Yeah, we'll be gluing that into that part there. Head into the head side B, glue on. Oh, I've put muzzle instead of snout, that's what I've done. But I have got glue to up. Muzzle point to up. Well, we'll see what happens, I suppose. Almost there on the tackiness of that. Get a waft. Okay, let's start at the back here. So, it's gonna wanna stick in the wrong places if you just sort of go in like this. Again, the foam and the glue is very manipulatable. You can move it nicely and easily. You can manipulate it easily. There we go. English, not my strong suit. So we're gonna start at the back with the cheek back against the head side. We're gonna just align the back pieces there. And as you can see, I'm sort of like flipping this bit up and out the way while I align everything else. So getting it in there, aligning there. Eek, get off me. There we go. It's a little bit awkward, but it's fine. Again, I'm pushing and pulling as I go so that those registration marks are all in the right place. Go and there we are. Right, get them all pressed in nicely. Edge in there. Everything fine on this side, looking good. Where these three edges touch here, the under eyes, muzzle side, eye, oh, and the cheek and the head side, I suppose. Just make sure you've given that a pinch and that it's all connected and glued in there. That's fantastic. I did not glue far enough down on that, but that's fine. I'll deal with that later. Right, cool. So that is functionally one side of it done. It looks really off right now because it's only half of it done and it's not got the other half balanced out. But that's where the snout piece comes in. Right. So the snout piece is the awkward piece, admittedly, but it's going to force everything into place. It's going to go along the muzzle side here. It's going to go along here. And it's going to force that out as a kind of straight line. And then it's going to go up here. Ugh, the sound of it is horrible. And then this red line piece here is going to connect there. That makes sense? Hopefully. But my notes say right now we're only going to glue it to here and here, so we'll see how that goes first of all. So let's actually just notice my registration marks on here aren't very clear, so I'm going to read. So it's obvious. Fantastic. Right now I'm just gluing along the red dotted line. And that means I'm only gluing along the under eyes piece here, along to this piece of the muzzle side. Oh, there we are. Right, doing this way means it's just easier to do the other side and then glue the snout into the eyes and the muzzle side on the other side. So now, just gonna tackify this. Cool, that seems tacky enough. Okay, so we've got a lot of forcing to do here, but I believe in you, you can do it. So, I'm going to start with the alignment down at the bottom with the muzzle side piece. So I'm going to make sure, let me get this there. Make sure those are together. Align those. It's gonna want to go all over the place. Come on, you. Have to align anything until you get to the toppy bit again. So this is why you don't glue the rest of the pieces at the moment, because otherwise they'll just glue in together incorrectly while you're just trying to get this in place mostly. And there, fantastic. There we go, pressing that in nicely. It's gonna look real dumb, don't worry. It'll all make sense in the end. Doing it this way just gives the snout like a nice curve, and a nice curve this way when it's all done and glued in. Right, you might find that there's some tension and pulling apart on this bit in here. Press back together again, and you should be fine. There we go. Right, looking a little funny. That's okay. Right, so we are now going to basically repeat the same instructions on the other side here. So we're going to glue the head side in. So we're going to, whoop, get out of here you. We're going to glue in side B now. And mirror what we've done already. No time like the present, let's get it done. One side, and you're doing along the blue dotted side of the head side piece. Really not an issue if you get glue sort of like on the outer pieces. Like, I mean, I expect you'll probably want to at least paint it or cover it with something, so you don't really see it. Especially considering, I mean, I've written all over mine in biro and all sorts. So that is getting tacky. I also know that I need to glue the muzzle side to the under eyes on here. So I will start that while that is gluing there. It is. That way around. Got it. Understood. Okay, so while that one is all tackifying, I'm going to leave you over there. I'm just going to start the under eyes gluing against the muzzle side because Because efficiency is the name of the game. Oh yeah, I mean, just take your time, you know, you don't have to. I've just done this a lot, so I'm relatively confident in my timings. Okay. I can set that aside with that. Lid on you. Are you tacky yet? Mostly. Nice. Okay, cool. So, repeating from the other side, we've got head side B against the head top. I'm going to start at the back, align that, press registration marks together, press, come on, press registration marks together, and press registration marks together. There we go. A good squishing, give it a good pinching, and that's in there like that. Fantastic. Right. These are still too wet to do, so I will glue the cheek and the cheek back together while we're waiting. Ew, tacky. And then it's onto the eye piece. Nice. So this is, yeah. So it's these two pieces that go together like this. I've cut mine out kind of badly, actually. We'll see how that looks in the grand scheme of things. Come on, you. I've always found the foam to be very forgiving though, especially if you are covering it with like fabric or anything like that. The fabric hides a multitude of sins, thankfully. Cool, right, I'm going to leave those to dry over there, which means hopefully these... Yeah, and... now it needs a little bit longer. Go to whip, flap, flip, flap. A little better. Oh, it's sticking to my finger. It's because I had a piece on there. Right, so this is... let me double check. That side to that side like that. Yes. Cool. So your under eyes and your muzzle side, ignore this. I didn't mean to do red here. That should be normal like that. So we're going to align these two corners. Let me do it up here. There we go. Oh, come on, you. Be like that. There we go. And get those registration marks aligned. There we go. Fantastic. And now pressing together. Perfect. There we go. Right. So means that we are now on to pressing the eye into here. My goodness, you is everywhere. There we go. So I'm going to run glue over the top arc of the eye, over the blue dots. Nice and even. Go. And same goes here. I'm going to run glue along here. Been a bit too much. That's fine. And sit on the glue bottle. Whatever. That's fine. Okay, I'm gonna leave that upside down to dry, which means these two pieces are now dropped. Nope, we're good. Tacky enough to go together. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so that is the cheek back and the cheek pieces. This light up a little bit. So we're going to align from the back of these, this one on here, and then this one's a nice and easy one, press into place. Oh, my registration marks weren't very clear on that. That's fine. It's all in, all pressed. Yeah, cool, so that's ready to go in as well. And now it's a lot of waiting because I've already sort of hurry up and done everything else, but that's fine, it's fine. Just come back when it's ready. You don't have to be here. Okay, so we're gonna start down the... did we start the bottom last time? Yeah, I think so. So we're gonna start with the eye against the head side. And we're gonna align the two bottom pieces. Fantastic. And we're just gonna make sure we get all those registration marks in the right place. Again, I've not pressed the pieces completely together yet because I want to make sure they're in the right place, and it's easier to just pull it apart when you've only got the top bit connected. That's fine. So again, a lot of like pulling the eyepiece back, pushing like the headpiece away so that like I can get those registration marks aligned correctly. And we're good. There we go. Right, pressing that together properly now. There we go. Make sure check the inside and make sure that is definitely all glued in on there as well. Cool. Right, okay, I believe it's under eyes next. Yeah. Under eye to eye. Cool, right. So we're going there to there. Yeah, nice. Cool. So we're going to ignore the extra red bit I have on here. I'm actually going to stop at this line again where the outer edge stops. That's what I need to glue right now. Okay, and that should be fine. And then we only need to go up to a bit in the way. We only need to go up to this part on the eyepiece to glue this in, because the other part goes on the snout. So all nice and glued. Beautiful. Okay. And again, we now have to just wait for the glue to get drier. Tackify. Then we can glue it together. Okay, that looks ready to go now. Tacky enough, perfect. Okay, so we're going to start at the outer edge on this one. My lights are in the way, there we go. Fantastic. Oh, we're going to start at the outer edge, align these two. Good. Don't go anywhere. There you go. Press, press, press. Yeah, your corners should meet here. Go on, focus, I believe in you. Your corners should meet here. And then the last little bit, you're going to go around the corner, get that aligned, and really press it in. There we go. That's an important part that needs to glue and stay in properly. Right. Just make sure that's all squeezed in correctly. On the other side, nice, nice, nice. Okay, so now the cheek parts are going in, so that is gluing all the way along there like that. So let's get glue on that. Oh, I don't know if you need it all the way down there. Whoops, that should be fine. Oh, there we go, and along this line here. Oh, I'm making a mess of it because my glue bottle is depositing dry glue all over the place now. I have to wipe that off. Ew! Get off. It keeps rolling and gluing onto itself. Away. Go away! Okay, we get it. It's a little bit too tacky, if that makes sense. Still feels a little too wet. Should do it. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so we're going to start from the back again on this one. I'm going to move the cheek out the way, like bend it like this, get it out the way while I start. So align the back pieces, registration marks. Just gonna sort of yank it around the edge here so it doesn't glue where it's not meant to. And registration marks. To this part, adjustment, push and pull. Oop. Go, and there we go. Fantastic, actually. Glued along the edge properly there. There we are. Cool, so that's all in the right place. I'm gonna press it all together. Press. Nice. All right. Okay. So now we're going to get that snout in on that side, and it's going to start to make things look a little bit better. So, yep, let's go in, and then we'll... that didn't have a cap on it. I guess this is where it's all going to get a little bit awkward right at the end here. Fine, you can do it. Leaving you. Just gonna glue it right now along this edge here.
And then be able to put it all in.
Perfect. Cool. Alright. Get that to dry. Okay, that seems about right. Alright, so a lot of forcing it to get into the right place at this point. So, it's gonna feel a little iffy, and that's fine. Like, we can reinforce glue with like some hot glue later or some tape or something like that. So, we are going to just get the snout in place here. So, the line-up is with the muzzle side B, that corner there. So we're going to press that corner in. Oh my gosh, you're so awkward. Press that corner in there. See, I'm really having to like move this in places it doesn't want to go to, but that's fine. We've got it. That's actually all aligned there nicely. That, and you're a little bit out the way there. You need to be there. There we go. There we are. I'm gonna make sure that's in from the underside as well. Looks fine. This bit's a bit iffy here. So this is probably where your pieces are gonna start to complain a bit, because that's a really weird position for it to be in. But it'll be fine. It'll get used to it. So we're gonna finish gluing the snout in to the head top and the eyes here. I'm actually going to leave the snout pressed through for now, because it means I could get to all the areas that I need to actually glue it. I've just realised actually you're that side around, aren't you? My apologies. There we go. Just looking at like a backwards version on the other side of my camera. So we're gonna do glue along the red bit of the eye here. And the other one. Hard to see, but I promise you it's there. Go. And that one I'm doing is I'm going to turn it the other way so I can access the inside. And on the inside, I'm going to glue along the top bit here on the in edge, and the other part of this pointy V bit. And while I'm here, it means I can actually access the snout piece as well, so I can glue all along here also. Okay. Right. On this piece specifically, it's important to make sure that you have a good application of glue and you have left it long enough to go appropriately tacky. You do not want to start gluing this in while it is still a bit wet and the glue is coming off on your fingers, because it will not have the strength to hold the shape it needs to have. So this is the one that needs to be done well. But the good news is it's the last, well, it's almost the last, I've got to get the nose on it first, but you've already done all of this, you've had your practice, and you're ready to go to the big leagues now. So I'm just going to make sure this is dried properly. I just realised I've not glued this inner edge like well. It doesn't have a nice even application, so I'm going in from this side instead. That side's fine, it was just that bit there. Okay, that's feeling better. Ah, no, okay, so the inner edge that I've just redone is still too tacky. Okay, so this is the fun, awkward bit. We're going to force the snout back out here. And that's going to put us in place where we can start aligning. I'm starting on the A side because I'm right-handed and that just feels right where I am currently. So that gets pressed onto there. And on this side, oh, I've already let it go and it's touched. That's a bit annoying, that's fine. That's basically in line anyway. Okay, cool. So, right now we're at the point where the eyes are glued into the snout. We now have to get this snout triangle bit into the head top. So, a little awkward, but it'll be fine. So I'm basically just going to press the tip of that triangle into place, and then I'm going to press the rest of the... This is the final bit where you can't get your thumb in it quite right, but you just want to press in so that everything touches, makes connection, and then the contact glue should do the rest to hold it all in place. There we go. Ah, you know what I've discovered? That you do not want to taper off on this blue bit. You literally need to stop it there. I have just discovered that. We will make sure to note that in the instructions, because that will give it a better hold there. So it's hard when you have nothing to really grip to press pieces together. But again, the foam is very forgiving. You have all that space to grip and pull. If like me you goofed it a little bit, that's totally fine. You can add hot glue later, will really help fill in gaps. Otherwise, I think that's also because that glued too far across that way. That's fine. Anyway, you know, everybody's piece is going to be different. All gluing techniques are going to be slightly different, especially if it's your first time, second time, third time making something like this. You never know. But otherwise, you've got mostly the base together. What we do need now is the nose to bring this down and calm it down a little bit there. So, our nose pieces, final pieces for this top part. We are going to glue them together like that. Nice and easy. And when these are in place, they will pull all the rest of the bottom pieces into place. Okay, fantastic. Now just got to give them time to dry. Alright, there we go. That's tacky enough. These are very, very easy. There's no registration marks on this. It's literally just like align the top pieces and just press together. If one's slightly longer than the other, not an issue. You can trim it afterwards. That's an outer edge, so it doesn't matter at all. Cool, so final bit on this top part is we are gluing this all into the nosy bit, to the muzzle bit, to the snout bit. It's obvious where it goes if you've got to this bit, you know? So, glue around the edges. We don't need it around the bottom part there. Alright, good application. And now that has to dry as well. Ah, I got it on me. Oh yeah, that's good enough, let's go. Cool, so I'm just going to start B-side simply because I'm right-handed and it's easy to do so. So I'm going to align the point here with the point here on muzzle to nose. Or am I? I think that goes off. Ooh, tell a lie. Start in the corner, let's see what happens. Let's start in the corner, because I have a feeling the nose comes, it does. Okay, so the bottom parts here do not go together. The nose comes down a little ways. So what we're actually going to do is, should we start in the middle? Let's start in the middle. That means it's more even. So I'm actually going to press the nose like that, so that I have easy access to everything there. And I'm not accidentally gluing down one side while I'm concentrating on the other side. So I'm going to pull. Again, you will have to manipulate a little bit, push and pull to get them all in the right place. But that's fine because that's what holds this whole shape in here. So that together like that. And then, as you can see, there's a little bit down there, off like that, that doesn't connect. It gives it a little extra edge. And then we're going to go in on this side and reach that over there, press that in there, right in the corner, manipulate that over there, pull that there, press that there, and we're done. Just get that a good pinch all the way around so that it's all in and
Nice. And right, there we go. That is the top half of the head. Fantastic. Hey, nice. It's this way around, sorry. Cool, right, so we will tackle the bottom jaw. Yeah, just after I've had some lunch, I think. Lunch break, go and get a snack. You've done great. Make sure you've aired out the room you're in, open windows if you haven't. Take a short break. Make sure you close up any glue, pack it away if you are stepping away. And yeah, we'll come back to this in just a moment for you. Fabulous. Okay, so we are now onto the jaw base, which means I need all my lovely pieces from over here. The one that says jaw base. Oh, it's a bonus. Yeah, roll that back the other way. And the two side pieces, what are they called? Excuse me, bottom jaw side. That's what they're called. And then you want the bottom jaw middle bit with the this side up bit to it. Right. So this one's a super easy one. Which side? Whatever side you can put these on doesn't really matter. Like weirdly, this should be side A, but because of how the registration marks go on the pieces, like it's actually easier if this goes on this side. What I would do is take your registration marks and just bring them down a little bit, down the edge. Even on the even if you're using just 6mm on here, I'd recommend doing this. It's easier just to line everything up, because you're not going to be able to see it, because the way we're going to glue these ones together is instead of gluing the edges together, we will be gluing it on top. That was terribly done there. There we go. So whereas on all of this we were gluing like edges to edges like that, on this one we're actually going to be gluing these side pieces straight on top. It's just easier. Just the way I've always done it, I suppose. This jaw bases. Come on, squeeze it back into place. There we go. So I'm actually going to do side A on this side, but like really it doesn't matter. Like that, and there, and there's a little bit up to give this a little bit of movement on that. So, to be honest, I think I can probably just glue both sides straight off, because they shouldn't get in the way of each other. Where do they go to? Up there-ish. Where's my pen? So I'm gonna glue to about here on both sides-ish. Don't need to go all the way around because we're gonna have to get this in afterwards. So do need a slightly wider glob of glue, I suppose, since you're sticking the whole thing on. That's fine. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do all along the bottom edge of A here.
Just going to use the bottle. It's not easier. Don't be modern. All the way along. Back edge as well.
Bloop, 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 bloop. There we go, so that's one bit. And then all along the bottom edge of this one as well, B size. Both the bottom jaw sides all glued up at the same time. And now once again we just gotta wait for everything to dry. The boring bit about doing it. Get off. You're not meant to be on there. It's gonna like that.
these pieces here on the bottom drawer sides will be kind of the recommendation for where like the hinge should go on the inside. Bloop, 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 bloop. Very good. Use it slightly longer because there's a blob of glue on that bit there. Dries faster. Waft that off screen. Okay, sufficiently wafted. Get off each other. There we go. Okay. Alright, I'm going to start at the top. Let me get this in frame. Start at the top. Push and pull, try and keep right to the edge. Need to push a little bit to get that aligned, and then again, foam is very forgiving, so you'll be able to kind of like push it back into itself a bit, and that helps give everything a bit of shape there. So I'm going to align those, and then I'm going to come back and press that into place. Nice. Ooh, almost got that wrong. There we go. We're okay there. There we are. Oh, this whole drawer base is trying to push its way out. Come on. Okay, yep. Yeah, that side's good as well. Oh, glue all over me. Ew, it's so tacky. Get off. You're tacky and I hate you. Right, I'm gonna start again from the bottom here. Oh, there's dog hair in it. Who'd have thought? That's dog hair, or it's fake fur. Okay, starting at the back. Align. I'm not pressing in hard yet, I just want to align against all of these registration marks first, and then that means that I know I'm in the right, and I can just go back in and make sure that is as flush as it can be with the edge of the base there. That's rubbish. Oh well. No worries, that's in. Okay. Cool, so those are our sides. The base is just a little bit curved. That's fine. Right. So you want the, what's this one called? I didn't actually write it on top. It'll be like whatever the base middle bit. Base in a drawer. Oh no, that's a nose in a drawer. Ignore me. Whatever. It's the little square bit. I believe in you. You'll know it. You'll know it. I'm sure you'll know it. You want to make sure you have made a note on it which side goes upwards. That just means it helps you align it properly, like with this. So that should fit in there quite nicely. So should we do all of it in one go? I feel like we probably should. So what I'm going to do is glue all the way around here and then up these sides, and then do the same on that piece. So it'll be a little bit of a squeeze, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Use the bottle just to run that all along there. Make sure there's good coverage along there, especially right in the corners. Make sure you have that down nicely. Try not to leave like a huge glob of it in the corner though, because it will not dry as fast as the rest of it. And then if you apply it and like glue it in, there's every chance that actually it won't stick properly there because it's too wet to do so. So now I'm going to glue along the bottom of it. This piece here. And along that side as well. Fantastic. And again, it is just wait time now. Let's gently rest that there. Oh, we're almost done. No, that's way too tacky still. Alright, we'll give that a hot second. Alright then, let's see. That's nice and tacky. That is also the correct amount of tacky. Okay, so we'll start try and shove it basically in the corner. Hey, look, that thing that I mentioned that happens when your corners haven't actually set yet. I just did that. I just did that thing I told you not to do. Once again, you know, do as I say, not as I do. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, where were we? Right, this side up, which means this goes in this corner here. So carefully as I can. Get that right in there, glued right on that. Just kind of sticking out right now. Gonna curve that around. Actually, what I might do is try not to glue it on the base, and I'm gonna glue it against here first, and that means that I have more adjustment about getting the base on the base in the right way. I don't know, that made sense to me. But either way, I'm going to try and get that right on that corner, right there first. And naturally, as you can see, it's like a little bit goofy, and that means because I haven't glued that bit down yet. But that means I can now just gently press and adjust. I should really have drawn the middle on that middle bit, but that is fine. That looks like that's all in the right place. And an aeroplane is going overhead. Or a helicopter. It's probably a helicopter. There we go. Fantastic. And there we are. That is the head base. Sorry, the jaw base done for the head, which means that you, if you've been following along, have glued together the entirety of the pattern. Fantastic. Although we haven't done the inner jaw bits yet, but we'll do that in a second. So there we go. It goes on a bit like that. Wow. Wow. Wait, that way up. Wow. Wow. I love these little ones. They're so much fun. Okay, so now we move on to the. Hang on a minute. Oh, I should have done that beforehand. No, it's fine. We can do it now. Now we're going to move on to those weird extra pieces that have inner jaw placement written on them. So we're going to. Don't unglue yourself. No, you're fine. Okay, so what you have here is 3 little pieces that look a bit weird. That's because this one belongs on the nose, this one belongs on the muzzle side, and this one belongs on the cheek inner jaw. Okay, so what we're going to do is grab whatever marker you use to do the general lines on the pattern for, and we're going to go on the inside of the head. Now, all of these have a little arrow pointing upwards, basically. And what you need to do is place these pieces on the bottom of the piece that it's mentioning. So I go, this says nose inner jaw. So I know that this is the nose piece, basically. I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to place it. It looks like it actually belongs to nose A. Okay, so this is on like the A side. So it's ever so slightly off because of course these have been cut at like angles, but we're going to whack that in there pretty central as you can kind of make it, and we're going to run a line along the top there. Fantastic. There we go. First mark made. Can we see that? Can we see that? I'm having a hard time working out whether you can see that. Hope you can see that. The lighting isn't good. There's a little line there. Can you see that? Can you see the line? There, I can see the line. We can see the line. The line is there. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to go, I think the muzzle, that's muzzle side A. So yeah, we're going to flip it back on itself. And this goes at the bottom here. You can see this one fits a bit better. It doesn't have to be like super perfect. It is just to give you an idea of like where it goes or where it is best placed. Really hard when it's built to show you that properly. So I'm going to, now that is in place, I'm going to put a line over the top of it like that. There we go. So it doesn't exactly align, that's fine. We can like pretend it aligns. Whatevs. Okay, so and then cheek inner jaw, which is, oh, sorry, cheek inner jaw placement is the other part of it. Blah. Okay, so this is the fun one. So once again, we're turning it inside out, kind of. We're just flipping it over on the A side, and we're placing this down here and move that out of the way. So you can see that also this has got like a little notch going upwards. This is kind of showing you the end point of where the top inner jaw should be. So I'm just going to do that down there and along like that. There we are. That one fit nicely. There we are. And now we'll do the same on the other side. You take your piece and you just flip it over like you were doing on the normal pattern. So I'm just going to do that there, roughly there. Muzzle side, flip you over and get you there-ish. Get on the piece. Yeah, depending on how these pieces have been cut out, and depending on your gluing, they might not be perfect, but they don't have to be. This is just to give you an idea of where they go on the inside of the head. And then we flipped over the cheek piece for side B. I'm going to lay it flush with the bottom of this pattern piece, if it would like to go there, please. And you can see it follows the piece's shape, so it should be easy enough to do that and up. And there we go. Right, it might be hard to see. I wonder if I can just going to go over it with blue so that you can see it more clearly in the video. Oh. And then along there, and there, and all the way there. Oops, what over? And there we go. Right, now you can see that a little bit easier in there. So that is the placement for the inner top drawer. Where are you? Inner top drawer is over here. Woo! Brought some plastic with us. Okay, we're gonna press it back into shape because my phone's been like rolled up for so long. It's just sort of become that shape. Cool. So what this does is show you the sort of the bottom part of where this goes in. So it is the part that you can just see when you press it in. Except I've just remembered we have to do one more step before that. So because this is at an angle, going outwards like that, we need to cut our inner jaw piece to also be at that angle at this point. So pick whatever way round you want to show, I suppose, at the bottom. I'm probably going to use that side so you can't see all the blue writing on it, although admittedly I always paint the whole thing and glue teeth on and all sorts. But what we want to do here is we want to cut an inward edge. I might actually pop that on the pattern when we get there. That'd be smart. I'm putting it, Charlie. Okay, so to cut an edge, an inward edge on a piece that doesn't already have one, I want to do it that way around, so it'll be like that. You want to flip it around to the way that you don't want it. So I want this piece to be shown, so I'm going to turn it this way around. Do I want that to be shown? No, I do want it that way. Yeah, sorry, ignore me. You want to flip it to the way that you would like it seen. And then we are going to angle our blade. Again, make sure it is nice and sharp. I'm just going to cut that a little bit off because there's a little bit there. Nice sharp blade, and we're just going to do what we've been doing while cutting out the pattern at an inward edge. You're going to start like off, so you're not going to like immediately like press down into it if you can help it. You're kind of going to drag in on a smooth movement. So I'm actually going to put like the butt of the blade against it here. And then I'm going to angle in my blade. This is a really thick piece. This would be a lot easier to do on a thinner piece. So, and then do an inwards cut like that. There we go. And I'm going to do the same over here. I'm having to sort of like rock back and forth a little bit, which is a shame, but that's fine. There we go. So that's now got a beveled edge there. So that should now sit a bit better in here. There we go. So when you've beveled that edge inwards, that should then slide on in. If you find it isn't quite right, you might have to like bevel it a little more on one edge or another. Yeah, that's just sort of like the nature of foam and its movement. So what we're doing on this is we are pressing it in so we can just about see the line that we've made, only just see it, and that will give you the glue point for gluing that down. And when that is glued down, that will hold the shape of the head as well, so it's not kind of going to crush and things like that. So I'll glue that in just a second. We've also got the inner bottom jaw. Again, my pieces are a little bit of a bendy there, but I'm going to put it in that way around. These ones are much easier. You want to place the bottom jaw piece just on the bottom, sorry, on the base. The top bit, press right down on the base. You might even want to, if you're using thick, like shave down a bit so that you have more room for teeth and things like that. Otherwise, the next thing you want to do is instead of, let's put it at that angle there. Instead of leaving it flat down like that, you want to bring the inner bottom jaw piece up until it's basically flush. This is hard to do here. Kind of like flush to like the top of the base jaw sides, bottom jaw sides. And then when that's glued in there, that will give you the space underneath for your thumb to go. Because that's what we're making right now. Placement for where your thumb and your fingers will go. So let's glue that in now. Why not? I find that sometimes I like to reinforce it with hot glue afterwards, simply to like give it, reinforce it a bit more, give it a bit more oomph. I think I need to bevel those in just a little bit more, so I'm just gonna take my blade and just shave a tiny bit more off there. How's that? Oh, I think I took too much off that one side, so now mine aren't even, but hey ho, that's how it goes. That goes down there, and there we are. Perfect. So it looks like my placement of the end piece is a tiny bit off. I think I might have trimmed down the one I was using previously, but otherwise that fits nicely. So let's glue it. The important thing to remember when you're gluing these inner pieces is that the blue bit here is the bottom of the piece going in, so you need to glue above that line. Light in? Who knows? Who knows? How do you light things? It's hard. Get me my glue. I'm probably going to glob a load of glue in and just go in with a lollipop stick because it would be easier than trying to fight it with the tip of the bottle. Go! And... gently. Okay, far too much glue. I shouldn't have done that much glue all the way around. I will collect it on my lollipop stick. Ugh, so much glue. Far too much glue. Whatever. Better more than not enough. Better too much than not enough. I know English. Oh, and it actually went a bit further back on mine, so I'm actually going to use that excess glue to glue a little further back than what is indicated there. There we go, cool. I'm going to pop that to the side. I'm going to grab the inner top jaw and do the same, except I'm not going to put as much glue on it because that is too much. I'm going to bead it across, I think. Always add more. That's a bit better. That's a much more even layer of glue without it going absolutely everywhere. Oh, that's an idea. When you do get to the tip here, that has got more surface area than just the sides, so you may need a thicker, like a wider line of glue on your inner jaw piece. On just on the head, I suppose. This is the inner jaw piece. Man, there are too many words. Too many words. Just label them A, B, C, D next time, maybe. Ew, I got glue all over my hands. Right, I'm just going to add a little extra on here after I said that, because I think I might need some. Come on, glue. Oh, that was too much. Definitely more glue there now. Yeah, okay, right, and again, just going to have to wait a bit. Oh, actually, while that's gluing, move it out of the way a little bit. I'm actually going to grab this. Now, because I use 12mm, I found that on the smaller ones, I actually need to shave this down a bit because otherwise the bottom teeth don't really fit in as well. Like, they're too high up. So actually, I personally am going to shave off a little bit of this. If you're using just 6mm for everything, you do not need to do this. It'll already be like the perfect size. I'm just a fool. I think I'm just going to kind of shave down and into it from about here-ish. About here-ish. So... oh. You will blunt blades real quick going through foam like this, unfortunately. I'm surprised this one's held on pretty well so far, considering all the cutting it's done. There we are. A bit on this. I'm just going to take this to the edge. Sorry, this is going to be off camera, but I need to use the edge of the table. How's that looking? Oh, that's looking a bit better. How's that looking there? That's a lot smaller. Perfect. Cool, I think that'll do on that then. Right, okay, we'll see how this is going. Are you... Ew, you're still a bit too wet. I used far too much glue on that side. Which means I think I might just start the gluing process on this. Which means I want to make sure that that goes up. And what I might do is I might just do a line for myself while I have this in situ here. Get you out of the way. Because I know that I want it up there, but I want to make sure I'm kind of even on both sides as well. What I do tend to use while I'm just doing things that I want to be able to take back and adjust, I use cocktail sticks. They're great. They just go straight through foam. They'll hold it in the right place, but of course you can take it out and maneuver it at any point. So I love using these just to hold everything. And so I can check that I have everything in the right place. I use them as placeholders for the jaw hinge as well, before I get it in. Okay, so I know where those back lines are. I know if I press down there that will give me an even line on both sides. Cool, so I'm going to go with blue again. Further in front, so I'm just going to do, just not pressing down, just so I can see the line on the inside, so I know where to glue to. That look about right? Yeah. I'm gonna take those out. Boop. Get them out of my way. And take this out. Ooh, get over there. Take this out, and now that has given me, hopefully you can see, like a blue line on the inside. How can I show you? How do I show you? Look at the line on the edge, the blue line. Fascinating. Okay. Lining myself with these lights. I think I'll do a better setup where I have the lights above me next time. These feel above me, but apparently they're not above me enough. That over there. That's a lot better now. Okay, we are ready to glue. Okay. Ew, are we? Are you? No, you're okay. I thought you were a bit damp, but you're fine. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to start with the pointy edge right into the pointy edge of the nose here. So what I'm going to do is just gonna like press everything outwards and apart so that I don't accidentally glue things that aren't ready to be glued. And then I'm going to go in. Point. So what I'm trying to do is just keep enough of that blue underneath. I can see my biro line and I'm like, I know I drew that just over the top, so I want to make sure that it's just over the top of there. I'm going to go in on this side so I can do both quite evenly and see what I've done the other side and make sure it matches. Come on, don't be gluing all the way down there. Yep. Go, and there we go. Which means that goes there, there, and there. All right. Glue in. Oh, it's a little bit off on that side. Hopefully that'll be fine. Mold you back into shape there. There we go. Fantastic. There we are. Fabuloso. Yeah. So what that does as well is that keeps the shape in there really nicely, and gives you a plateau. I can angle it so the light can be seen. It's so hard. Let's bring this over. So there we go. So you can see that now there's a plateau for your hands to go into, your top of your hand, like this. Wah, 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 wah. Okay, but now we gotta do the bottom one, and then it'll actually be done. Get this light back where I want it to be. Okay. Right, good. Same thing, same situation. We are gluing this bit on as well now. So let me go on the inner, this bit. So again, you want to glue underneath that line. Don't want to use too much glue. Just remembered. Give me that lollipop stick. Ew, it's so gluey. Oh my gosh, get off me. Right, this side. Yeah, just realised that the angles are really hard to do once the thing is built and actually to record it. To do like have a camera like around my neck or on my chest. I think even then you'd end up being too low and I'd be like, can you see this? Can you see this? I can see this. I don't have the money to have all those really cool setups that all these really cool crafters have. I don't even have one of those microphones that you're like hook into your thing. Yeah, your thing. Your lapel. No, not that. Hook it to your collar. But a wonderful friend of mine has given me his old Snowball blue microphone, which is fantastic. I remember using one with my friend when we live stream? No, we used to record video game footage and us commentating on it. As everybody does at one point when they want to open a YouTube account, you know, and try and get famous. Where I am now, hey? Alright, we are glued on all of that. That is to say that I'd love to invest in proper stuff for this, but content creating is hard work, and I'm unsure if my ADHD addled brain can handle it on top of also having to do the thing. I'm getting better at it. You know, we'll see what happens this year. I'd like to do more videos in general, but it's not just doing the content creating, it's then going and editing it afterwards. And I am not a video editor. It takes me a very long time to do what I'm sure someone who knows what they're doing can do in like minutes. Take me easily half an hour. Wobble your pieces. Wobble them to dry faster. Wobble them. This is so unhinged. Well done if you've made it this far, by the way, because this is you've reached the nonsense part of the video where I'm almost finished, and nothing makes sense anymore. It's a little bit too tacky. Ah. Okay, that's a little bit better. How about you? Oh, you're fine. Okay, we're ready to go. Right, so similar situation again. I'm going to go from the very tip where the nose is. Ew. I'm going to kind of spread that apart so I can get this in without it catching on anything else gluey-wise. There we go, we're in there. And I'm just going to do the top back pieces as well, I think. Just follow the line that I gave myself, please. Do it, I believe in you. You're off. Get in there properly. There we go. Hey! Right, come on, good press in. There we are! Fantastic! And hey, if you have been following along, that's it now. You're done. The base is done. Fantastic. There we are. That goes on the top like that. And then, well, you need to like actually hinge it, but that's basically where it's at. Why not? Hey, while you're here, hey, don't go anywhere just yet. Let's get a couple more of these cocktail sticks, and let's work out where that looks pretty even. There, that needs to go up a tiny bit there. So let's just shove one in here, and there-ish, and you look even there. This is just rough, I just want to show you. There we go! So, just a couple of cocktail sticks mean that you can immediately... Now I'm just going to have to hold this weirdly because I've not got my finger holds in it, but that means you can immediately get it going. Oh my gosh, I can't get it in camera. There we go. And have an idea of how it's going to work. And you, I don't know, already at this stage I feel like you can give them some real character. So there we go. You did it. You made one. You made a little Maned Imp Dragon head. What will you do next is the real question. You get some beautiful Cabochon eyes here, paint some ping pong balls instead, put them on there. Get some teeth in there. I used to sculpt my teeth just out of more foam, basically plastozoic foam, and then paint them and glue them in. I now have a 3D printer, so I do it via that now. But, you know, I started making these from the basic materials around me. Like, the fanciest stuff I had got really was the Plastizote to work with and the glue. Like, everything else should be easily accessible, dependent where you are, you know, that kind of thing. Like, I can't speak for everybody, but you can go down to, like, most shops and get some just cheap, friendly fur fabric. Like, it's not gonna be great, but if you just want to give it a go and see what it's like, you have that opportunity. You know, use ping pong balls, use things that are around your house. Like, the possibilities are endless. As always, if you do make a puppet out of my patterns, please send me photos. I love to see what people make. It's so exciting to see how other people take the base and what they do with it from there. I really love it. I haven't got any other patterns out for the Maned Imp Dragon at the moment. I did have an ear pattern. I did make a dragon with ears that was little like this. I'll dig that out, and I'll probably pop that up on Patreon if I can find it. Otherwise, there are other patterns available via my Patreon, horns and the tongue and teeth that I was talking about. Ow, don't eat me. So those can be scaled down and used, you know, like quite easily. Otherwise, yeah. Oh my gosh, we did it. I did another one. I'm gonna have to go and edit all this now. There's so much more work to do. But hey, it'll all be worth it. I now have like 1, 2, 3 of these guys. Sort of inundated with Maned Imp Dragon heads at the moment. So I also have one base drawer. I think that's yours while I was working the pattern out. Yeah, so if anybody wants a Maned Imp Dragon commission, I'm basically ready to roll at about 3 of them. Yeah, what I might do actually is take one of these and use it for the kobold that I want to make, that, my goodness, I really want to freaking make, and I've just been so busy. So yeah. Wow, hey, well done on making it to the end of the video. Congrats, because that was another long one, and it was just mostly me waffling. I'm sure I will have sped through some of the wait times, and similar. Let's get you all out of the way, because this one is the big one. There we are. Put you up like that. That's not creepy looking at all, right? Love it. All right then. You're probably bored now. You want to go. If you did watch this through because you made one, ace. I'm proud of you. And if you post it up anywhere, tag me. I'm basically everywhere as Keep Drawing Charlie. I am pumped to see what you do with it. If you just wanted this on in the background because you like the sound of my voice, weird but like cool, I kind of get it. I put other people on in the background a lot while I work in the studio. I hope that it was comforting to you to have me work alongside you. Otherwise, I'm probably going to end this with some video footage of other Maned Imp Dragons that I've made, and go into like a proper, like, it would probably sound really nice, me doing a nice like voiceover, and I'll show you other dragons I've made with this head, ow, thank you for eating me, and a proper video of this head in motion. And I will go ahead and I will read out all of my lovely Patreon supporters on the dragon tier above and above as well. So take it away, voiceover Charlie.
Thanks, Studio Charlie. I'll do my shout-outs over some footage of the previous Maned Imp Dragons I'd made using earlier versions of this pattern. So first off, shout out to my bestie Jazz for very generously bullying me into making another small dragon puppet when I hadn't made anything but the huge dragon puppets for years. She's basically the reason I reworked the original pattern in the first place and made this video, I suppose. Her dragon, Kyros, is the brown one in these clips. Also a huge thank you to ThireAndFaol for shooting the footage of Kyros for this part of the video. He looks stunning, and Vel, the tiefling who owns him, looks fantastic as well. Check out those matching horns. I'll put a link to their socials below so you'll be able to see the photo shoot they did with Vel and Kyros. They look stunning. So I'm doubling up this thanks because ThireAndFaol donated their old microphone to me. Thank you so much. I don't sound like a tinny mess anymore. Yay! And after I learned about pop filters, I sound a lot better again. Yay!
Alright, let's keep going with the shout-outs. The lovely people you see scrolling by on the screen are the folks who helped me pay the bills and feed my dog. Thank you all so much for your continued support. The fact that I can make puppets and videos like this, even as a part-time job, is a huge privilege in today's society. And the money donated through Patreon goes towards making sure I have the time in the week to work in my studio, create new ideas, and edit long-ass videos like these. If you want to be on this list or have your name shouted out, join up now. Link in the description or potentially floating above. So a big thank you to Ben Orchard, Burr Marie, Cosplay Fan by Reed, Denise Coyle, Diekatson Kernigan, DJ W, Eileen W, Emma Potter, Enigma Hyena, Expletive Deleted, Francesca Kilpatrick, Hazel Tyler, Jazz Cooper, Jessica Nuttall, Mary Carmen Laborda Blanco, Mary Kay Montague, May Explode When Shot, Arcane, Rachel Rahn, Ross, Sam Jane B, Sky Guy Pete, So Very Perry, TL889, Tony Angelo Toika, Tracy Boland, Venla Votelainen, Will Spooner, and Will Vanner. Thank you all so much again. Also, if you enjoyed the music in the background, I've added a list to the description of the tracks that were used in order. They're all by Alexander Nakarada, full credit and link to his work in the description. I'm going to have to use them in my D&D campaigns because they're so soothing to have on in the background. Right, that is the video well and truly over. If you've actually watched all the way through, you got to leave a comment and let me know, man, because that is super impressive. I love you all. Keep making and keep up the good work. I'll see you in the next video.